Welcome to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe in the studios of our flagship stations, 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. You can also find us in the Birmingham Bloomfield area on Birmingham Area Municipal Access and on City Cable 15 of Southfield. Join us live on Channel 10 in Waterford every day, on the media network of Waterford and live to tape on Channel 10 in Orion Township and Lake Orion on Orion Neighborhood Television, or as they call it out there, ONTV. You can also find us on the radio in the Birmingham, Bloomfield, and Troy areas on 88.1, the Biff, a service of the Bloomfield Hills School District. Find us online on our Facebook pages at Civic Center TV 15 and at Lakes FM, on our website at civiccentertv.com, and on My Michigan TV or MyMy at mymytv.com, where you can also learn more about how you can download their free apps for your smart TVs and your smartphones and take all that Michigan content from creators right here in the Great Lakes State, on the road with you on your phone and at home with you on your smart TV. All that information is on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you can also find all of our programs on demand and find each individual interview as well and watch us at your own leisure. Then let's head over to our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus with up-to-date information linked to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division, so that you can stay up to date on everything you need to know about the spread of COVID-19, precautionary tactics such as masking, as well as vaccinations and booster shots. Also on our coronavirus page, we feature articles from many journalistic outlets throughout the state of Michigan in order to keep you updated on COVID-19 and other stories making headlines in Oakland County and across the Great Lakes State. Our top story today from the Detroit Free Press: Oakland County's economy is surging after the county gives strong aid to small businesses. The University of Michigan's annual economic forecast for Oakland County shows that Michigan's richest big county is bouncing back and then some from the pandemic's recession. The county is poised to surpass pre-pandemic employment levels this year, a good omen for those of southeastern Michigan. Because Oakland County's typically strong economy is an engine that drives much of the regional economy, according to a team of U of M economists. The economic experts say they were cheered by Oakland County's last 12 months of dramatically dropping jobless rates and rising wages. Still, they warned that national and global factors such as inflation and the war in Ukraine still pose economic risks that could set back households throughout the county and Michigan as a whole. The annual presentation was unveiled on Thursday morning at the M1 Concourse Conference Center amid an 87-acre complex of more than 250 condominium garages and house costly sports and collector cars built on the reclaimed site of the former GM truck and bus assembly plant. Among the experts' findings that apply all across southeastern Michigan, researchers checked the status of regional computer and math-related jobs throughout Metro Detroit. The demand for workers who can fill such jobs is growing rapidly nationwide. It represents the United States' answer to a vigorous competition in advancing technology by equivalent workers in China, India, and other global competitors. U of M's researchers found that Metro Detroit has a slightly higher share of these computer and math-related jobs than the nation as a whole, but they also found something they say is worrisome for local employers and economic development directors. The median wage for those occupations in southeast Michigan is well below the national average, even after adjusting for differences in the cost of living between Metro Detroit and, for example, the Silicon Valley of California. In order for Metro Detroit, quote, to remain the research brain, and closed quote, of an increasingly computerized automotive industry, the U of M economists say employers will need to raise wages for that key sector of employment. The U of M researchers forecast a stronger Oakland County recovery from the pandemic's recession than they predicted for neighboring Macomb and Wayne County, as well as other counties. Here are some factors why. Oakland County has a large private sector of employment and relatively less employment in government jobs, notably because the private sector is growing faster than government employment. Oakland County has a tighter labor market than neighboring counties, meaning there aren't as many workers to fill available jobs, which, quote, helps to ensure that Oakland County's prosperity is shared with workers in the lower wage industries, and closed quote. And Oakland County's government made an especially strong effort to provide relief grants, loans, and other assistance to keep small businesses afloat during the pandemic's downturn. Oakland County ranked first among Michigan counties, quote, on nearly every metric in the Paycheck Protection Program, including total funds, funds per resident, local jobs supported, and total loan forgiveness, and closed quote, according to a news release tied to the economic forecast. The economists predicted that the county's average real wages would grow at least through 2024. By year end, they expect the county's employers will be paying an average wage of $71,700 in 2021 dollars, or about 7% above the pre-pandemic level from 2019. Of course, that's an average, meaning that some incomes in Oakland County may be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, while residents in pockets of poverty, such as Pontiac, earn far less than the average. Oakland County's robust recovery from the pandemic's downturn highlights its long-standing strengths as a center of high-tech employment, quote, including its educated workforce and focus on 21st century manufacturing and engineering, said U of M economist Gabriel Ehrlich, director of the U of M Research Seminar in Quantitative Economics, which receives a fee from Oakland County government to provide an annual forecast. Blue-collar industries are expected to be among the quickest to fully recover from the pandemic period, Ehrlich said in a forecast that was 23 pages in length. Presenting the forecast along with Ehrlich was economist Donald Grimes, a specialist in labor economics and a senior researcher with the Seminar Group, a team of economists who present U of M's annual Economic Outlook Conference, billed as the longest-running such event in the nation. Also making headlines on CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus from the Detroit News. Locally, state police arrest 9 people after a car chase on I-96 in Oakland County. 9 people have been arrested after a multi-department police chase early on Monday on Interstate 96 in Oakland County, Michigan State Police said. Troopers with the state police's Brighton post called the Metro North post at about 1 a.m. to report the pursuit of 2 groups fleeing east on I-96 from Kensington to Grand River. State police say they believe that the 2 groups of vehicles were stolen from an auto plant in Lansing. Each group consisted of 2 to 4 cars each, police said. A state police helicopter and officers from multiple agencies, including the Livingston County Sheriff's Office and Metro Parks Police, and multiple state police posts pursued each group, they said. One of the groups crashed on I-96 near Kensington Road, officials said. The suspect drivers in the vehicle got out and fled on foot, but 9 people in total were arrested. The other group separated and some exited on Grand River. No injuries were reported, officials said. More updates on this article as they continue to pursue these individuals will be posted on the Detroit News on their website at DetroitNews.com. We will have this article on our website. We do have it on our website, CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus. And I'm sure if you click on it throughout the day, it'll take you to that article, which will have updates as they continue to pursue whatever other individuals may be involved in this incident. Lastly, making headlines on CivicCenterTV.com/coronavirus from our friends at Bridge, Michigan. At Michigan State University, the Isotope Center opens to unlock the universe and revolutionize medicine. In an unimposing complex of buildings on Shaw Lane in East Lansing, an easy walk from the Red Sea to the River, and half a dozen Michigan State University dormitories, scientists are searching for the origins of the universe. They're also hoping to revolutionize medicine and train the next generation of nuclear scientists. And that's just the stuff they expect to happen. Quote, "We think we know what we're going to find, but nature hardly ever works in that way," said Brad Sherrill, science director of the Facility for Rare Isotope Beams, also known as the FRIB. As many as 1,600 scientists from around the globe are expected to work at times in the facility on MSU's campus. A ribbon-cutting Monday attended by U.S. Secretary of Energy and former Governor of Michigan, Jennifer Granholm, will mark the official opening of the FRIB at the heart of the $730 million project, mostly funded by the federal government. Is fastest particle accelerator of its kind in the world. It's okay if you don't understand what that means. Even the scientists who manage it don't know everything they'll find over the expected 50-year lifespan of the facility. What they do know is that the FRIB is a technological wonder with scientific implications for the world and economic benefits for Michigan. Quote, "This is the nuclear physics equivalent of the launch of the Webb Space Telescope," in closed quote, Sherrill said, referring to the 2021 launch of the most powerful telescope ever placed in space. Quote, "That's a new tool that astronomy never had to look at the universe of planets and stars and distant galaxies. This is a nuclear physics equivalent, being able to see and explore kinds of atoms that we could never have done before." Bridge, Michigan spoke to Sherrill and the FRIB lab director, Thomas Glassmacher, recently about the impact of the facility and what it will have on Michigan and the world. Oh, and whether a careless grad student could create a black hole. So what is the FRIB? FRIB houses the world's most powerful heavy ion accelerator. It's a complex of 4 buildings with an underground tunnel housing the accelerator. The tunnel is 570 feet long, nearly the length of 2 football fields, and 70 feet wide with 12 feet in height, and 32 feet under the ground of MSU's campus. The accelerator propels atoms to half the speed of light to collide with a target. The resulting collisions produce combinations of protons and neutrons that aren't normally found on Earth and don't hold together forever, called rare isotopes. Another question, just how rare are these isotopes? Many are not found on Earth at all and only are believed to exist in stars. Researchers believe the speed of the accelerator will help scientists find as many as 1,000 new rare isotopes. Quote, the discovery opportunity is related to the power of the beam because if you have more powerful beams, you can make more exotic, rare isotopes, Glassmacher said. It's almost like an Easter egg hunt. You know there are some eggs out there, but you find eggs in places you don't even expect. There are areas of research we know about, but there will be discoveries that we make that we don't know about yet. How will the FRIB research impact our lives? Past discoveries of rare isotopes have been crucial in developments from smoke detectors to PET scan imaging for disease to radioisotope dating of ancient Earth history. One area in which Glassmacher said he feels confident the facility will make breakthroughs is in medical research. Quote, we're not a hospital, but we can make these isotopes for researchers who develop therapies, and we can do it quickly, Glassmacher said. So what does this research have to do with the stars? Cheryl said work at the FRIB is likely to help researchers understand the evolution of the universe. Most of the elements in nature are created in stars and stellar explosions, and there are additional elements made in those stellar explosions that are not normally found here on Earth. Rare isotope accelerators like the one at Michigan State will help to create some of these rare isotopes, which could help us understand what the first stars in the universe were actually like. So who's doing the research? Even before the FRIB opened, Michigan State had the nation's top-ranked graduate program in nuclear physics, training 1 in 10 of the country's doctoral students in the field. Beyond undergrad and grad students, quote, at any given time we might have 100 or so scientists on site from around the globe, Cheryl said. Most research projects take about 3 weeks, but some take months, quote, we're good for local hotels, Cheryl even joked. Is there an economic impact for Michigan by having the FRIB at MSU? The facility will employ about 1,000 people permanently and pump $4.4 billion into the Michigan economy over 20 years, according to a 2017 study. The positive side effect of the new facility is that it will likely draw more educated people to live in the state, Cheryl said. Quote, all these people come to Michigan to study or conduct research. Hopefully some of them will stay, end closed quote. Then you have some of the sillier questions. Could it blow up? Could it create a black hole? Glassmacher said he's heard people in the community worry about experiments going sideways and how they could cause some kind of global catastrophe, a nuclear explosion, or black holes, and, the world going away, Glassmacher said. He then continued on by saying, quote, that's not going to happen, end closed quote. Because particles used in the accelerator are isolated rather than condensed like an atomic bomb, there won't be any mushroom clouds over East Lansing. So why is this such a big deal? It was something like 30 years ago when we got to a point in nuclear physics where we realized that we weren't going to make progress unless we had a much expanded ability to explore the atomic nucleus, said Cheryl. The FRIB allows that exploration. Quote, anytime you go somewhere new, you always discover something you didn't expect, and we know enough to know that our knowledge is incomplete. This will help complete our knowledge of the realm of the atomic nucleus, Cheryl said. He continued on by saying, quote, it'd be really great for people to follow along and see what we discovered. So stay tuned. Now, the question is, can you see it? There are regular tours of the FRIB that you can schedule, and there's a link in this article on the Bridge Michigan website that we have linked on our website at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, as well as all of those other headlines and links to accurate, up-to-date information on COVID-19 from the CDC, the MDHHS, and the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great program ahead on this Monday edition of the Oakland County Megacast. Coming up next, we'll speak with Joanne Ewald from Mend on the Move, and then we'll speak with Jason Charnas from JVS and Kadima about interviewing for that next great job. That's all up next. This is the Oakland County Megacast.
Today it is easier than ever to join Michigan's Organ Donor Registry and help build a bridge of hope for organ, tissue, and eye donation. Just one person can potentially save or help improve the lives of up to 75 people. By joining, your legacy could be the gift of life. Sign up today at michigan.gov/SOS or at any of the more than 145 Secretary of State self-service stations located across Michigan. Be part of Michigan's Bridge of Hope by adding your name to the Organ Donor Registry.
When times get dark, We can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM. Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about our program at civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll also find more information on all of our partnering stations all throughout Oakland County and across the state of Michigan. Joining us now is Joanne Ewald from Mend on the Move. She is the founder of the organization that employs survivors of abuse in Metro Detroit and create jewelry and other items in their work as well. Joanne, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Tyler, for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So I gave a little bit of a preview of what your organization does, but you, of course, are the founder of the organization. You have a lot more information on this. You're a lot better person to describe Mend on the Move. So for those that may be unfamiliar with your organization, tell us what Mend on the Move does for people in the community.
So Mend on the Move is a nonprofit that employs women, who you said it right, who are survivors of abuse, a variety of different abuse, whether that's emotional, physical, sexual abuse. And we employ them with a job, and we teach them to create jewelry from salvaged auto parts. And that we're doing a thing twofold. We're helping women who desperately need it in our community, and also helping the environment by getting rid of waste that normally is just put into landfills.
And so how did you come to find this organization? What was the motivation behind providing these opportunities to survivors of abuse, and then why this route for providing that outlet?
Well, I'm a survivor myself, and really a long time coming in my healing process. I really didn't begin the healing process until I was well into my adulthood, although the abuse happened when I was a child. And so creating art and jewelry was a part of my healing process, and I began to think that maybe other women might benefit from it the same as I did, other women who've been through similar situations. So it really was just a part of my healing process, and it led me here. And why auto parts? I just wanted to pick something that was symbolic of working with women locally.
And so, Joanne, when they are putting together this jewelry, they're making it from salvaged auto parts. What is that process like? Because when you think of salvaged auto parts, I think most people would think of things that are rusted out or are heavily used and are probably not going to be all that visually appealing to then turn into jewelry. So what is that process like?
Well, some of the parts aren't really that rusty and terrible looking. They're just parts maybe that have been discontinued, or a lot of companies just are not making, don't have use for it because they're not making something where they need those parts any longer. So they're given to us. Most of the time they don't look so used and grimy. They're newer parts, but they're just discontinued, more like parts.
We're joined by Joanne Ewald. She is the founder of Mend on the Move, with us today on the Oakland County Megacast. More information is on their website, mendonthemove.org. That's mendonthemove.org for more information on this organization. And so how do people that have been victims of abuse, how do they then find Mend on the Move, get in contact with your organization, and start working with your organization?
Well, we on a regular basis, when we need makers, we try to put out a job opportunity on all of our social media, our website. Currently, we are actually looking for a seamstress, because not only do we make jewelry, but we also create leather goods from salvaged car seat leather. And we do all sorts of fun things with that leather. So we're looking for a seamstress right now. We may also be looking for another maker soon too, so stay tuned, but they can always look on our website, contact info@Mend on the Move if they're interested, or if they just need some information in general on how to deal with the situation they may find themselves into.
We're joined by Joanne Ewald, the founder of Mend on the Move, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information is on their website, mendonthemove.org. And so you mentioned not only the jewelry that's being made from salvaged auto parts, but also your seamstress and some of the clothing items that are also being made from salvaged parts, such as seats and from the leather of the seats and the cloth of the seats and so on. Where are you getting all these materials from? Who are they coming from to Mend on the Move to then turn into these products?
Well, currently our list is a big donator is Ford. They actually donated a whole pallet of car seat leather to us last year, which we're putting to good use. We make tote bags, we make table runners, dog leashes. We get also leather from Lear Corporation. We get parts from Relco Industries that make carburetors and radiators. We get parts from BAE Industries, and they make seat components. Let's see, who else might be missing? Right now, we are getting a lot of potential suppliers from Magna. They use a variety of suppliers to make their parts, and they plugged us into their suppliers to try to see who would be interested in donating parts that service them. So we're slowly but surely making our way through the automotive industry and finding new connections all the time.
We're joined by Joanne Ewald. She is the founder of Mend on the Move, with us on the Megacast today. More information on their website, mendonthemove.org. That's mendonthemove.org. And Joanne, you have an event coming up. It's called Shop for the Good Village. Can you tell us what this event is, what the goal of this event is, and where people can join in and participate?
So this event is really not sponsored by Mend. We're actually just going to be participating in it, but it's actually put on by the Berkeley, I believe it's the Berkeley Chamber of Commerce. But it is on July 6th from 11 to 5 p.m. And it's really great. I think it's one of the only art shows. It's the it's actually officially called the Berkeley, and I have to look this up because this, again, is not the show that we're not sponsoring it, but we're excited to be a part of it. It's called the Berkeley Street Art Fest. And what's really cool about it is they're having one area of it. It's called the Shop for Good Village. So in that street, or that street area, there is a section for just either nonprofits such as like us, or other businesses that are making products that are either sustainable, good for the environment, or that helping people locally. So it's all products that really are doing things good for our community. And I think that's really great idea. And again, I don't know another art fair that's doing something like this.
We're joined by Joanne Ewald. She is the founder of Mend on the Move, joining us on the Megacast. Again, more information is on the website, mendonthemove.org. That's mendonthemove.org. And again, if you'd like to participate in the Berkeley Street Art Fest and at the Shop for the Good Village section of that, where Mend on the Move and other organizations will be selling some of their products to support their organizations, that event is coming up in July 6th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. in Berkeley, as the Berkeley Street Art Fest. Go ahead and search that for more information on the full festival, and you can search Shop for Good Village at that event when you arrive. July 6th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
I think it's July 16th. You said July 6th. I think it's July 16th.
July 16th, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Again, more information. If you search Berkeley Street Art Fest, you'll get all the information you need on the entire event, which will include Shop for Good Village, where our friends at Mend on the Move will be on that date. We're joined by Joanne Ewald, the founder of Mend on the Move. And for those that may be doing some shopping for Mother's Day, or down the road for Father's Day even, you have many products that are available at this time. Can you tell us about some of the collection of jewelry that may be available if someone would like to get a gift for their mother or their father or someone else in their life this summer?
Well, Mother's Day is actually right next week.
Yeah.
So that's actually before this event. We have lots of things on our website. I'm wearing a pair of earrings right now, and these are parts that are donated from Relco Industries. But we have leather goods, and we have earrings and necklaces, and oh my gosh, there's lots of good, fun stuff to check out. But this art show will have all those items there, and we'll also have our leather goods at present there too. So lots of great things for, honestly, in the summertime, I start going to all the art shows and start thinking about the holiday, because, that's a time when when that time comes, you want a unique gift, it's hard to find. So start thinking about it in the summer. I do my holiday shopping beginning in the summer, June, for all the art shows in Michigan.
Yeah, a lot of great art shows in the spring and the summer, even into the early parts of the fall, all throughout the state of Michigan. And many of them do have events like Shop for Good Village within that event that the Berkeley Street Art Fest will have in July, featuring organizations like yours, like Mend on the Move. We're joined by Joanne Ewald. She is the founder of Mend on the Move. More information is on their website, mendonthemove.org. And so, Joanne, if people would like to get involved with the organization, either they are victims survivors of abuse, the victims of abuse, survivors of abuse themselves, and would like to work with the organization, or others that would like to volunteer or help the organization in any way that they can, how can they get involved with Mend on the Move?
Well, we don't necessarily have a volunteer program because,
Okay.
the women actually work in the studio, and there's a lot of privacy involved, and just identity issues. So we it's not so much a volunteer, but for those who actually are looking, they're survivors and actually looking to be involved either as employment opportunity, or again, that would be a good volunteer opportunity for them, being a survivor themselves. It would be info@mendonthemove.org. Anybody who wants to contact for more information or has ideas of how they would like to be involved, and maybe it's not even like working in our studio or something, but maybe it's doing something outside the studio that would be beneficial for our organization. We're always looking for opportunities to raise money, because our jewelry does help us pay our employees, but we also have a more mending program that we're launching, and that really helps us provide services beyond employment opportunity to our survivors, because we really recognize that they have a lot of needs that need to be met that maybe employment can't handle. So there's lots of ways people can be involved, and I'd like to be able to speak one-on-one to people if they have ideas.
Again, that contact information is info@mendonthemove.org. That's info@mendonthemove.org. There's also more information on their website, mendonthemove.org, as well. If you'd like more information, info@mendonthemove.org to get involved with Mend on the Move and learn more information. And go to their website if you'd like to make a donation as well. That's mendonthemove.org. We're joined by Joanne Ewald, the founder of Mend on the Move, joining us today on the Megacast. Joanne, another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye on this edition of the Megacast. Anything else at this time that we haven't discussed about your organization that would be important for our audience to know or be considering at this time?
Well, I just wanted to also talk about one more thing about the art show, the Shop for Good Village. I do see that they actually have, like, if you apply before May 30th, you get a discount in the booth fee. And it's actually so affordable for nonprofits. We don't do a lot of art shows simply because they're a lot of money for a booth fee. And that money we think can be better spent and elsewhere, being a nonprofit. But this is only $75 if they sign up before May 30th. And after that, it goes up to $100. But still, that is really a reasonable fee for a booth, I think. And that makes it affordable for us. Like I said, we wouldn't do a booth, usually an art show where it's $500 or something like that, which is a typical booth fee at a larger art fair. So I think it's definitely affordable and a good opportunity, I think, for other nonprofits out there that sell a product, or any organization that's doing good in our community, selling a product that's doing good. Great opportunity for them to participate, I think.
Joanne, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your interest and allowing me to be able to share about Mend.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Tyler.
Again, to get in contact with Mend on the Move, that's info@mendonthemove.org, or you can visit their website, mendonthemove.org, for more information, to shop with Mend on the Move, and to donate should you have the means to do so. mendonthemove.org. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we'll talk about the job market with Jason Charnas from JVS and Kadima, who has some tips for you as you approach your next interview and try to nail your dream job. Coming up next, this is the Oakland County Megacast.
Who is struggling right now?
I am.
My son is.
Many are struggling with anxiety, depression, and substance use. Before it becomes a crisis, reach out to MyCal, the Michigan Crisis and Access Line, for free confidential support 24/7. Available in the Upper Peninsula and Oakland County. Just call or text 1-844-44-MyCal or chat online at michigan.gov/MyCal. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Motorcyclists are hard to see. To keep everyone safer, it's important to always look for them and know where most crashes occur. 84% of motorcycle and vehicle crashes happen on streets, not highways. And most crashes with motorcyclists occur when vehicle drivers are turning left. So before turning, especially to the left, make sure you look for motorcyclists. Then look again. It could save a life.
To Sofia and Gabriel. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love. These stitches and threads join us together. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
72.7% of high school students get less than the recommended 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night. This can cause pain, obesity, and can very negatively affect your mental health. When you have a consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every day, you get sick less often, lose more weight, and have better relationships with those around you. For more information about the dangers of sleep deprivation, go to sleepfoundation.org. This message is brought to you by the WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Joining us now from JVS and Kadima, once again, is their Director of Business Development and Career Services, Jason Charnas, with us on the Oakland County Megacast. Jason, thank you for being with us today.
Absolutely, Tyler. Thanks very much for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So you have a number of virtual programs and seminars that have already been undertaken by JVS and Kadima. That video from those seminars is available to the public if they'd like to learn some information on how they can go about their job search, about virtual interviews, about updating their resume, changing career paths, and a number of different topics. But for some people, joining these seminars live, even watching those seminars on demand at their own leisure, can be really tough to fit that into their schedule on top of their work, on top of their family obligations. So there's a special new program that's a free drop-in job search that you'll be offering to Metro Detroit job seekers that will begin on May 3rd. Can you tell us about the drop-in job search, what people can expect if they do tap into this resource, and how it will help them find that next job?
Absolutely. So our goal in the department of JVS plus Kadima is to help people to find employment. So we work with people that are unemployed, underemployed, or fully employed, but simply looking for that next opportunity, something that will help with the meaning in their life in employment. So we also recognize that today's job search, whether that be physical job search, resume, cover letter, interviewing even, occurs digitally, virtually, pretty significantly. And there are many people that don't have a computer, don't have access to internet, and that limits how and what and where they can do this. So it means going to a friend's house or going to the public library or some other space that has a computer that they can access. The challenge with all of those places is you're on your own. What we're providing here at JVS is an opportunity for people, regardless of whether they have computer and internet at home, to come into our office, drop in, no reservation, no phone call, just stop in and use our computer lab in the Hermelin Ort Resource Center. While you're there, whether it means working on your job search, whether it means building your resume, tweaking your resume, whether it means any other job search functions, writing a cover letter, researching what you may want, putting all of that information together. In addition to that, we also will have a staff member in the room who can help, who can provide recommendations, who can assist, who can suggest ways to write or rewrite that application, who can provide some specific direction on what a modern job search looks like and what are some of those online resources and tools that can be used.
We're joined by Jason Charnas, the Director of Business and Career Services at JVS and Kadima, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. More information on jvshumanservices.org to keep up to date on everything and all these different programs, and to learn more about their drop-in job search program that will begin on Tuesday, May 3rd. So where will these drop-in job searches be located?
Fantastic. So it's at our main building in Southfield. We're on Southfield Road between 12 and 13 Mile Road, specifically 29699 Southfield Road. When you enter to our building, you go up the stairs or the elevator to the second floor, and the receptionist there will direct you directly to the office. But we have lots of space, many computers, and we're here to help in whatever that specific need is, right? We also recognize each individual has a specific need, specific goal, a specific opportunity that they're looking for. And so we'll try to individualize and customize what that looks like. But this is just the start, right? So drop in, let's see what this looks like. And then for people that are interested, we can set up one-on-one meetings. Again, free resource to the community where our staff one-on-one can provide really much better direction versus in a group setting on what that resume looks like, or more focused job search strategies, perhaps help with networking, LinkedIn, whatever that person's need and goals are, we'll be able to help with that. Of course, if somebody just wants to come in, sit in the corner of the room and work on their resume and their job search, awesome. We've got that space, and we're happy to open up our facility for people to be able to do that.
And so, Jason, as people are preparing for these, for their job search or to apply for these jobs or in process of it, we know that there are some mistakes or some faux pas that people will fall into in their job search that have been universal throughout the years. But it's a lot different now. We're in a different job market than we were 2-3 years ago, certainly than 10 or 20 years ago. What are some more common mistakes in the modern era of a job search that people may be falling into that they can avoid?
Tyler, that's a great question. So one of the things to consider is in a lot of ways, this is a job seekers market. There is pretty significantly low unemployment. There are opportunities around. So one of the things I would suggest is not settling for the first opportunity unless it's a good opportunity. I don't know that the perfect job exists for everybody, or if people can even identify what that perfect job opportunity would be. But I mean, that's an important piece is doing a job search and looking at different opportunities that exist. For a lot of people, location is a pretty significant piece. So depending on your situation, driving 20, 30, 40 minutes for a job may not be right, may not be necessary. We see people interested in looking for remote style opportunities, but that don't have the skill set, the computer skills, the technology comfort to really work in a remote setting, in which case we would direct somebody back to a much more traditional in-person environment. We know there are employers that are willing to train and hire. So looking at a job description and not being concerned that you don't check off every single box, that you don't meet every single qualification and experience, that you may meet some of those. But take a chance. Show that employer that you have the drive, you have the interest, you have some past experiences, or perhaps you don't, but you're willing to learn. And often employers are willing to take a chance because they're in a position where they need to fill these openings.
We're joined by Jason Charnas. He is the Director of Business and Career Services at JVS and Kadima, joining us on the Megacast today. How important is it to have in the job search, to have a LinkedIn profile, and as you mentioned, to have a cover letter as you're applying for jobs today?
So two pretty significantly different questions. Let's start with the cover letter. The cover letter has seen a lot of shifts over the years. The challenge is cover letter is still expected by many employers. The reality and the challenge is the cover letter doesn't always get looked at. Then again, a resume doesn't get a lot of face time with employers. People will spend a lot of time working on their resume and working on their cover letter for maybe to get looked at for a minute. And while those are important tools, and the cover letter is an important tool to explain, especially like I said earlier, if you don't have the skills, the experience, the background for a position you're applying for, in that cover letter, you want to talk about what are those transferable skills? What are the experiences? What is your motivation? Why should you be considered for the position? But so cover letter is important. Networking. Networking is the way many people find employment. How important is LinkedIn? For a professional style job, for a professional job seeker, LinkedIn is pretty important. It's a great networking tool. Depending on the industry, there are recruiters that are looking for qualified candidates on LinkedIn, and it's a great place to connect, to find about job openings, to find about job leads. So whether you're looking on Google, whether you're looking on Indeed, but LinkedIn also has a great job search feature built in. You can set not reminders, so that notifications, you can set notifications for specific job types, and so you can receive those directly to your email if you're interested.
We're joined by Jason Charnas, the Director of Business and Career Services at JVS and Kadima, joining us on the Oakland County Megacast. For those that are interested, their free drop-in job search program begins in May, on Tuesday, May 3rd, at their office in Southfield. You can drop in, use their computer lab, apply for jobs, get some specific help as well from their team over at JVS and Kadima to help you out with that. More information on the drop-in job search program at jvshumanservices.org. You can also send an email to employmenthelp@jvshumanservices.org. That's employmenthelp@jvshumanservices.org for more information. So you talked about the current job market being competitive, but also having a lot of openings and a lot of opportunities. It's a different job market than it was a couple of years ago. How can people take advantage of that mass of opportunities and find themselves that right job that you talked about earlier, or something that's close to that right job, even if there maybe isn't the perfect one for them out there?
So we work with people that know they need a job right away. They may have been laid off or let go for whatever the circumstances, or perhaps they're working full time, but they don't like what they're doing. They don't feel like they're getting treated well or paid appropriately. So part of that is starting a job search. I recommend people look at Indeed at a radius of maybe 10 miles from where they are, put in their experience, the types of jobs they're looking for, and then just start looking. What looks interesting? What looks like that's something they could see themselves doing? Once we get to the point where somebody has identified a little bit of a target, a little bit of a direction, then we can focus more in on that and say, okay, so what are other companies, what are other businesses that have similar jobs, similar types of employment, and go for it, right? Let's look at, see who's paying what. Are those salaries negotiable? Is there a pay range? Start applying and apply with meaning. So the idea that people could apply for 100 jobs in a week is possible through Indeed. They have a quick apply method, but there's no meaning to it. We call it the spray and pray, right? You just hope you get a lead, you get a call back. The reality is people that are looking for jobs, once they figure out what they want, targeted, specific job search, networking is a great tool. Do you know anybody that works there? Do you know anybody who's connected with that company, with the hiring manager? See if you can get somebody you know that you're connected to forward your resume directly to to somebody, the hiring manager, HR, it makes a difference to how people get hired. And the other thing is, a lot of companies post jobs publicly, Indeed, LinkedIn. They may already have an internal candidate, but their policy states that they're going to post those jobs externally. So taking time to connect with people to learn about what we call the hidden job market, jobs that are posted internally, that if you know somebody and are connected, you can have those opportunities direct to yourself. A staff member, an employee currently in that business may get a referral bonus. It's a win-win for everybody. So networking is a significant part of how that job search can be really successful.
Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Tyler, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much.
Can I ask you a question? Why did you get your kids vaccinated?
It was hard for them to social distance, to be isolated from their friends.
I want them to get back to school and sports games. So as a pediatrician, I recommend the vaccine to everyone I know.
The boys lost a former teammate and classmate who was only 20 years old. It's been a devastating year.
We want to get back to normalcy. Our daughter is really looking forward to being with her friends, being a kid.
It's the Great Lakes water. And so what people do ends up in our waterways.
Flushable wipes are just evil. They should be thrown away. They're impossible to destroy, and then they can cause significant problems.
One of the main things when you're cooking is to not dump fats, oils, and greases down your drains.
They stick to the sides of pipes, they stick to everything they come in contact with. Don't put it down the sink.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Seasons are soon to be upon us, and as that happens, many will be traveling up north to Grand Traverse County to be visiting the bustling metropolis of Traverse City. We have a preview video for you of some of the many different experiences you can take in this spring, summer, and fall in Traverse City, Michigan.
Sunrise paints these cherry-colored clouds, wakes the earth, shining rays out on the ground, brings to life our town below the base, where there's great food and better people, everyone's a friend, all are welcome, where the compass ends, so raise a toast to one more day. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. I feel it calling me, it's drawing me in. Take me there, take me where it's pushing, pulling me along. Takes me slow, my heart is full. Everything's right from wrong. Smiles dancing, sun and snow. Nothing ever looked so pretty on my mind, oh my. Take me there to Traverse City. I'm dreaming of a paradise, the mine is in the north. This feeling brings me back, always wanting more. Close my eyes, and the moments and memories always make me smile.
Joining us now on the Megacast is the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, Mike Kent, as we head into the warmer seasons of the year, and people all across Michigan, the Midwest, and more make their way to Traverse City. Mike, thank you for being with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Appreciate having you on. So, as we get ready for the summer season and the spring season and then the summer season recently, can you talk about what's changed about Traverse City in recent years and over the past several decades that makes it an attractive city to visit in Michigan for those that are going on tourist opportunities from either within Michigan or outside of Michigan as travel comes back this warmer season?
Doesn't that video put you in the mood to just want to get out and do something, Tyler? And quite frankly, if you could see what I'm looking at right now with the blue sky, Grand Traverse Bay being incredibly blue right now, that I think would want to have you up here. And you really can't look at what's new in Traverse City without, first of all, looking at what's renewed in Traverse City. There's a couple events that have been either pared back or not happening because of COVID over the last couple of years. So one of the big ones that a lot of your viewers, listeners are aware of is the National Cherry Festival. So, it's 8 days around the 4th of July, and it is back full steam this year. And that means the Blue Angels are going to be here. And whenever the Blue Angels are going to be here, it's an incredible show that brings literally hundreds of thousands of people to the region to watch the shows, and it's worth every bit of it too. So Cherry Festival is back with its parades, with its food tasting, and of course, cherries. They're going to be here too. And then just recently announced that the film festival, Traverse City Film Festival, is going to be back, and that's July 26th through 31st. So that hasn't been around for a couple of years. Again, because of COVID, and they're going to be back with over 40 films. A very popular event is they set up a huge screen in the open space overlooking Grand Traverse Bay, and they, no charge to go to that. It's all open. Incredible sound system. You take your family down there, grab a lunch or dinner rather, and eat in the open space and watch films. So that's back again this year. And the other thing that is back again this year is the Ironman race. The Bayshore race is back this year. Ironman is in Frankfurt in September. So there's a lot of things that have been either pared back or put on hold over the last couple of years. And I'll tell you, the place is filled with excitement because of that coming back. And I've been doing travel shows in Chicago, DC, and Dallas. There is a noticeable excitement with people wanting to get back, and people in your area especially. This is an area that is very well known to the people that are your listeners and viewers, and there's an excitement about traveling again.
Yeah, it's really a lot of exciting events there in Traverse City over the summer especially, but even in the spring and in the fall, a lot to do up there, a variety of different things that you can do. You got a city for those that like to be in a very active and upbeat environment. You have, of course, beautiful beaches and landscapes and beautiful nature for those that like to engage in nature during the warmer seasons in Michigan and more. And you mentioned the Traverse City Film Festival. I was there in 2017, just after graduating from Michigan State with their Theater to Film project, which always premieres those and other short films also at the Traverse City Film Festival every year. And so it's a really interesting event, it's a really fun event to see great filmmaking from Michigan and from the region and in an interesting environment as well. And so you mentioned the excitement that these different, that people are having to get back out to these events and get back out and having fun in the community in Traverse City. What about those that are planning these events? Because for them, they've been off for a year, maybe even 2 years, maybe even more, without planning these events, without executing these events. Now that they're also back, how are they preparing this year as opposed to previous years as they get ready for these events that draw in so many people?
Well, especially if you take a look at the last couple of years, there was so much uncertainty, and I speak as somebody who is one of an organizer of events in this area, and up until the last minute, you have to you don't know if the event was going to go on. And I think there is enough positive affirmation that, we're not out of the COVID woods yet, but, things are looking pretty good and pretty safe. This is an area too, Tyler, that you have to understand, one of our main economic drivers is tourism and travel to this area. So this area learned very early on and very quickly that safe travel is absolutely critical. And what's happened over the last couple of years, we had like 1.7 million visitors to Sleeping Bear Dunes National Lakeshore. It was a record. Well, why is that happening? Well, part of it is pandemic driven because, nobody's closing the trails. Some restaurants might have closed, but nobody's closing Lake Michigan. Nobody's closing the beaches. Those are all still open, or were all still open over the last couple of years, and people needed to get away and needed to feel safe. So what did they do? They came up here and they used the beaches. We have some, incredible facilities. And, Sleeping Bear Dunes, you say, okay, they had 1.7 million visitors. That's a lot of people for a town of, about 19,000 in Traverse City. And yet it's such a large expanse that you can still find that isolated beach to get away and there's nobody going to be around. If you want to go on the dunes climb, there's going to be a lot of people there at Sleeping Bear. But if you're looking to get that remote place that's out of the way that, your family can grab a sandwich and go out to the beach, it's there. And that's a lot of what we were seeing last year. And when you talk about, the people who are planning things for this year, there's tremendous excitement about it because, they put their heart and soul into planning these things. And it doesn't come to fulfillment unless people show up. Well, this year people can show up.
More information on TraverseCity.com. Learn more about everything going on in Traverse City this spring, this summer, and this fall, and all throughout the year. Again, that's TraverseCity.com. We're joined by the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, Mike Kent, on the Megacast. Again, TraverseCity.com is their website. And Mike, I'm often told by people that after watching this show, they really could use a drink. And coming up on May 1st, it begins Michigan Wine Month, and Traverse City Uncorked is one of those events that is celebrating Michigan Wine Month. It begins May 1st in Traverse City. Can you tell us about that event and how people visiting the city can enjoy Michigan Wine Month?
First of all, we got to assume that their needing a drink has nothing to do with you. Is that right, Tyler?
I assume it has everything to do with me for 2 hours a day.
This area has over 40 wineries that are part of Traverse Wine Coast. There are 2 AVAs, which are designations for wine regions in this area. One is the Leelanau Peninsula. The other is the Old Mission Peninsula. And that's all part of Traverse Wine Coast. So May is Michigan Wine Month, and we produce about 60% of Michigan wines in these 2 AVAs, these 2 regions. And this is our way to celebrate Michigan wine. It's going on all month long. So it starts actually May 1st and runs through the end of the month. And it's a mobile passport that, you just put it on your phone. And it gives you, and right now there's over 20 wineries that are a part of this. So it gives you incentives, it gives you discounts on either wine tasting or bottles of wine. And also you stay at any of the hotels and you can register to win a Traverse City wine themed weekend. It is our opportunity to show to the public the amount of craftsmanship that goes into area wines. The wine industry has been going on for over 40 years when somebody had this great idea of let's get rid of some cherry trees and put some grapes. And all the other farmers said, you're nuts, but it's grown into just a phenomenal wine region on the same parallel as Bordeaux, France, and some of the top wine producing areas throughout Europe. And what is happening is you have got a moderating climate as a result of Lake Michigan and Grand Traverse Bay that becomes perfect for the production of wines in the region. So what we have are a group of wineries that are now producing highly acclaimed wines that are winning all kinds of competitions around the country. And the Traverse Wine Coast opens up those opportunities to taste the craftsmanship that goes into these wines. And while you're at it, enjoy some absolutely spectacular views of the region and the lakes and just the whole environment that this region has for the winery industry that's going on here. So it's our way to celebrate Michigan wines. It's all easily accessible. You go to 5 different wineries that are part of the passport, and you're eligible for a Traverse City Uncorked shirt or other wine items like the Traverse City wine glass or a corkscrew. And so it's just a little added incentive for people to come on up, try out the wines and see what the craftsmanship is when you taste them. And they're spectacular. That is, to me, as a person that handles public relations and I deal with sommeliers and wine writers literally from around the world, that is, I think, one of our biggest stories of the last 5 years, and probably will be for the next 5-10 years, because of what is happening with the climate right now. The caliber of the wines in this region are just getting spectacular recommendations from around the world.
We're joined by Mike Kent, the Public Relations Manager for Traverse City Tourism, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. More information on their website. That is traversecity.com. Traversecity.com for more information on everything happening in Traverse City over the next several months and all throughout the year. Mike, you mentioned earlier on the beautiful waters just outside your window there in Traverse City. For those that enjoy being on the water over the summer and enjoy water-related activities and events, what are some things along those lines that people can enjoy in Traverse City in the upcoming months?
Anything having to do with the water is here. Okay, so you've got a number of tall ships. We had a new tall ship cruise that started just last year. That's the Wind Dancer. The crew here at Traverse City Tourism went out on it last year. What a spectacular evening! You know, it was the weather was perfect. They serve up a locally sourced gourmet dinner, and there are other opportunities. There's a school ship for kids to learn and appreciate what's going on with the ecology of the Great Lakes and appreciate what we have here with the spectacular, and it's not just Traverse City and Lake Michigan, everything that we have with the Great Lakes is phenomenal and needs to be cared for, needs to be taken care of. And so there are opportunities for that. But it's everything. Taylor, it's everything from kayaking to stand-up paddleboards to, have you ever heard of an e-foil?
I've not, no.
It's a propeller driven like an SUV, a stand-up paddleboard, only it goes above the water and you're kind of elevated above the water. It's never been on it. That would probably not be safe, but they look incredible. Those are here and classes on that. And then don't forget there is Great Lakes fishing, charter boat fishing. There is, take advantage of the rivers and the inland lakes that we have here, and fly fishing. We're getting into the fly fishing season here real soon. So anything having to do with the water. If you're somebody who has got a family and you want your kids to be with lifeguards and, there's a comfort level with a lot of people around, we've got Clinch Park Beach that's right near downtown Traverse City. And they've got a little waterscape for the kids to play in with the fountains and things like that. Or as I mentioned earlier, if you're looking for that remote beach that nobody knows about except you, it's here, And anything having to do with the water, that is probably our number one attraction. And I just came back from a series of travel shows in Chicago, DC, and Dallas. And one of the big things I say is, we have fresh water. This is not salt water where you go in salt water and you come out and you feel kind of yicky. Yeah. This is fresh water, and you can go swimming in this water and there aren't things that are going to kill you. We don't have freshwater sharks. Yeah. So, you can enjoy yourself in the water and whether it's swimming or taking advantage of stand-up paddleboards or whatever, there's a lot to do here.
Mike, before we let you go, anything else that people should be keeping in mind as they travel to Traverse City this spring, this summer, this fall, and beyond?
Yeah, Tyler, one of the big things that I would encourage is we have so many natural resources here that we can take advantage of. But we also need to appreciate that we have to take care of it. Little things like, we're getting into the hatching season for the piping plover, which is an endangered species of beach birds that especially hang out around Sleeping Bear Dunes. And there's not many of them in the world. And you have to protect the environment. So that means if you're out on a hike, and we encourage people to do that, but you've got dogs, make sure your dog's on a leash, because the biggest endangerment to the piping plover is just that, dogs that are on the beach and they go after the eggs of the bird. So respect the environment, clean up after yourself. I mean, simple little things that for the most part, our guests to this area do just that. They look out over the lakes and they say, this is something that's beautiful, needs to be taken care of. We certainly want it there for our generation, but my grandson, who is 2 years old, I want it for his son and his son's son, and the generations. This is a fragile area that yes, please come up, take advantage of it, enjoy every moment that you can in the Traverse City area, but also take care of it.
Mike, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely.
More information.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
211, how can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Joining us now is the director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, where he is also serving as a professor of political science. Dave Dulio joins us once again on the Megacast. Dave, thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure, Tyler. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. So just recently we had the county conventions and then the statewide convention for nominees for the Republican Party for governor here in the state of Michigan, other positions as well, such as Secretary of State, Attorney General, and more. And it's very similar, that statewide convention, very similar to what we would see on the national stage around the presidential elections, but there are specific differences, and there is a certain process that's undergone in each party in the state of Michigan. So can you give us a review of the process that the Republicans went through to choose their preferred candidates, particularly for Attorney General and Secretary of State, but also to discuss their primary candidates for the gubernatorial election?
Sure. Michigan has what we can maybe say is a unique system of selecting candidates for statewide office. And the first point I would make is that some candidates are chosen by primary and other candidates are chosen by convention. And when we're talking about a year like 2022, when we have a gubernatorial race, Secretary of State race, Attorney General race, Supreme Court offices, regents for U of M, MSU, and Wayne State, we've got candidates like Attorney General, Secretary of State, Supreme Court, and those regents or Board of Governors, whatever they're called at those different institutions, those are chosen at convention. And the gubernatorial candidate, as well as other offices, U.S. House of Representatives, State House, State Senate, will be chosen in August during a primary election. I would say another thing about two more points about the process that makes it unique. One is the state convention that was held last weekend on the Republican side was technically not the nominating convention. It was an endorsement convention. There will be another meeting later in the summer that formal nominations of these folks will be made and adopted. The other point, the last point I would make, and it gets us a bit of far afield here, but it's worth noting, we will elect Supreme Court justices in Michigan. We have for years and years and years. Those offices on the ballot in November are nonpartisan. but candidates only get on the ballot through a partisan process. Republicans will nominate folks to be on the ballot for Supreme Court, and they did, and Democrats will do the same. So it is a hodgepodge of maybe ways of candidates getting on the general election ballot here in Michigan.
And we've seen such contentiousness between these two parties, the Republicans and the Democrats, at the state level especially, going into this election, but that's kind of just a microcosm of the national contention that is between these two parties, especially in the wake of the 2020 election, where the Republican Party questions the validity of that election, which is entirely unfounded and has been investigated 11,000 different ways, left, right, upwards, backwards, upside down, and every other direction you can think of. And then the Democratic Party continues to, of course, go after Donald Trump and go after those that are in his camp, which is now dominating the Republican Party. We look at the endorsement conventions from this past weekend, and Trump-backed candidates were pretty resoundingly nominated for or endorsed for these positions. You look at close races, and you look at races in the Attorney General and Secretary of State's positions, particularly Attorney General Matthew DePerno, who won 54% of the party vote on Saturday. He has been very outspoken about his opposition to the results of the 2020 election and his belief. He's filed lawsuits in the past in results to that. And so it brings me to think about these elections. And again, the cliche comes up, the most important election of our lifetime, and it is so because every election has implications for the next one. At this moment in time, how crucial in the Republican Party do they see this upcoming election in the state of Michigan for these critical positions, especially governor, attorney general, secretary of state, and even down the line in the Supreme Court for their future in 2024? And then vice versa for the Democrats, how important is it for them to either, at the very least, maintain their current position in the state of Michigan and even nationally, but even more importantly for them, not give up any of that position to the Republican Party that supports Donald Trump?
Yeah, I think, Tyler, the next election is always the most important one. And that's, it gets back to the fundamental goal of a political party, right, which is to win and then maintain control of governmental power. And because that's the only way that a political party and its candidates who turn into elected public officials can implement the policy alternatives that they prefer, right? So Democrats want to win in November so that they can keep hold of power in Washington, D.C. Republicans want to win in November to keep control of the Michigan legislature, right? And so it's always about the next election and therefore about the next governing period.
We're joined by Dave Dulio, professor of political science at Oakland University and also the director of its Center for Civic Engagement, joining us on the Megacast on this edition of the program. And so these Trump-backed candidates have been endorsed by the Republican Party. They're presumably going to get those nominations should something not go very wrong in the next coming months. But then we think about the analysis of the electorate in the state of Michigan and really nationally as well, because for the Republicans, the benefit of these elections occurring in 2022 in the summer for the primaries and in November for the general election is we're almost 3 years removed from January 6th. It's been a long time since that harrowing day and that harrowing incident has been fresh in our minds. It's given time, and time has started to heal parts of those wounds in some cases. On the other hand, 2 years, 2.5 years, 3 years is not a very long time. It's not a very long time politically either, and that's still very much front of mind, especially because Donald Trump's not in office. But him and his politics are still very much defining the Republican Party. How much of a factor do you believe that the results of the 2020 election, but more importantly, the incident on January 6th that occurred in the wake of the 2020 election may have an impact on the Republican Party's viability in these Michigan elections and even nationally in other elections?
Well, I think in terms of January 6th, you see the U.S. House of Representatives special committee that's investigating January 6th continue to do his work. And I would imagine that that's going to be timed up quite nicely with the fall elections. That's the prerogative of the Democrats, right? That they're in control of the U.S. House. Nancy Pelosi is Speaker. She can time that out just perfectly for them. So I think you'll see Democrats focus on that. I think Republicans like Mr. DePerno and Ms. Caramo will talk about 2020. I think there are other Republicans who want to move on and talk about anything but 2020. I think that the issue of relitigating the presidential election from a couple of years ago plays pretty well with some parts of the Republican base. Other parts it doesn't. And I don't have any data for you, but my hunch is that it doesn't play very well with voters that Republicans need to win statewide in Michigan. Independent voters, moderate voters, persuadable voters, whatever we want to call them. Those folks are looking forward, not backwards.
And so with that being the case, you look at the moderates, you look at the independents that maybe leaned Republican, certainly the independents that maybe leaned Republican in previous elections or tend to be more conservative politically. And you look at the moderates who are Republicans, who are more conservative and are not Trump Republicans necessarily. Do the Democrats have a viable potential of picking up those votes in these upcoming elections? Because as much as we talk about the moderate Republicans being averse to voting for Trump-backed candidates or candidates that have Trump-related politics in their arsenal, how reluctant or unreluctant are they going to be to vote for Democrats that may also be up for these positions in this election? And being that they're in that middle ground, are they more likely to go with their Republican candidates because of the conservative politics and take that risk? Or do the Democrats have a viable chance? And how do they strategize for that to try to pick up those voters? Because those voters presumably will be the difference in this election.
Well, I think I would say two things about that. One, we've got some historical data to fall back on, right? Where in 2016, in a place like Oakland County, you had a number of folks vote for Trump, whether that's because they liked Trump or didn't like Hillary Clinton is not the point, right? They cast their ballot for Trump. And then in 2018, they either changed and voted for candidates like Gretchen Whitmer, Secretary of State Benson, Attorney General Nessel, right? They voted for those candidates, or they didn't show up, right? So that's the real sort of trick in midterm elections is the surge and decline from presidential to midterm year turnout. So right, Democrats can get those persuadable voters. So can Republicans, but they need to come at those folks with the right message, with one that resonates with them, one that is convincing, one that speaks to issues that they care about. And the other factor is, again, turnout, right? And right now, many Republicans are energized, and I think I'd be hard pressed to say that Democrats are at an advantage in terms of enthusiasm for 2022. I think Republicans have an advantage there, whether or not they will come out and cast votes for candidates like Mr. DePerno and Ms. Caramo. Maybe they show up and vote for the gubernatorial candidate and skip the rest of the ballot, right? Those kinds of decisions are possible.
We're joined by Dave Doolittle, Director of the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, as well as a Professor of Political Science at Oakland University. More information on their website, oakland.edu. That's oakland.edu for more information. Also making national headlines in the state of Michigan from our state politics recently. Michigan Senator Mallory McMorrow, who is a Democrat, made national headlines in her rebuttal to being labeled a groomer, being labeled a pedophilia sympathizer by Michigan State Senator Alana Tice, who is a Republican. What were your initial thoughts about Senator McMorrow's response and the political implications that that situation has, particularly because of the passionate response of Senator McMorrow. How does that then politically impact both the Republican Party in the state of Michigan, but also the Democratic race, having someone now on a national stage like Senator McMorrow on a topic that's continued to be of discussion in many different political arenas nationally and statewide?
Well, I think Senator McMorrow sort of threw down the gauntlet, right? She did, and just in her terms, right, she'd had enough, and I think that's fair, right? She was criticized and she shot back. That's sort of what you do in politics, and I think we've seen a couple results already. One is that, as you mentioned, she got national attention. She got a phone call from President Biden, and she raised a ton of money from it, and that's positive outcomes for her. I think that, in terms of the parties and looking ahead to what it means for the 22 campaign and for Election Day, right? It feeds the base politics mode that we're in, right? Where the Republicans are going to take away what they want to from it. Democrats are going to take away what they want to from it, and dig in more to support their side, and they're going to do what they can to fire up their base, and on both sides, this does that.
Yeah, I think for the Republicans that in the state Senate, particularly Senator Tice, it's sort of a retreat and rethink and then come back on the attack from a different angle, considering they got, frankly, body slammed by Senator McMorrow in response to that. And for the Democrats, it's put the pedal to the metal in that battle and really lean into that. I think that's going to be playing a significant factor going forward, especially as we approach primary season. And for the Democrats, not only are they focused on, of course, getting their candidates elected and putting their best foot forward, but also trying to play as much prevent against the Trump Republican candidates for those key offices, particularly Christina Caramo for Secretary of State and DePerno for the Attorney General's position. We're just joined by Dave Dulio from Oakland University. He is a political science professor over there, as well as their director for the Center for Civic Engagement. And we want to give you a couple minutes before we say goodbye to talk about upcoming events and discussions at the Center for Civic Engagement, so people can continue to get politically involved, but have important conversations about these critical issues in a forum that is open, and it's inviting, and as is in the name, civil.
Yeah, we're already looking ahead to next year, Tyler, and thinking about ways we can be a convener of conversations for issues of public importance, not just for Oakland County, but Southeast Michigan and Michigan as a whole. We're not quite ready to let the cat out of the bag on something that's going to come up in May, but I hope your viewers will watch out in the next week or so for an announcement I think that they will find very interesting and engaging, and hopefully we can come back and talk to you about it.
Well, Dave, we appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Good to talk to you.
And from one Dave to another, now we have a special segment here on the Michigan Megacast. We're joined now by Dave Scott, who is live at the National Tourism and Travel Week in Frankenmuth, Michigan, with us now on the Megacast. Dave, thanks for being with us.
Tyler, how are you today?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing? And I know you're there with another gentleman as well. Can you introduce us to him and what's going on over there in Frankenmuth?
Chad Wiebesek. Hey, Chad, how you doing? Let me get your mic is wrapped up in my cord.
Dave, good to see you. I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. And you are the president. Tyler, we're with, royalty here. You are the president of TICOM, correct?
Yeah, the chair of the board for this year.
Chair of the board, even more impressive. And for our viewers who are not familiar with all the different organizations in tourism, what does TICOM do?
Yeah, so TICOM is the Tourism Industry Coalition of Michigan. And we are a trade association of associations in Michigan. And so we give Michigan travel leaders a sense of purpose and strength and knowledge. And we've been a nonprofit trade organization for over 30 years now.
And you're obviously not only here representing that organization, but your fine town of Ann Arbor, where you promote tourism day in and day out.
That's right. I'm the vice president. My day job is a vice president of marketing communications for Destination Ann Arbor.
So Tyler, you might not have known, but this is National Tourism Week, and here in Michigan we celebrate that every year with an event to kick it off, and that's what we're doing today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're here today to kick off the celebration for National Travel and Tourism Week, and it's always the very first full week of May, and this is the 37th year for National Travel and Tourism Week, and so we're here in Michigan, and there are other states across the U.S. that are celebrating National Travel and Tourism Week, and it's essentially just an opportunity for the travel industry to come together and to recognize the importance that travel plays in our businesses, in our communities, and also in our personal well-being and mental health.
Absolutely, and traveling around Michigan helps us get our head together, helps us recharge our batteries, and maybe a little fun along the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We're fortunate to live here in Pure Michigan. There's just so much authentic beauty and amazing cities, so there's always something for everyone here.
At this event, there'll be a lot of media here, Tyler. We, in fact, will be broadcasting it live on My Michigan TV, and it'll be on Facebook channels all around the state. You'll be able to find it, no problem. But what are we going to announce? What are we going to talk about today?
Well, you're going to hear a lot of facts and figures and statistics about the importance that travel plays in rebuilding our communities and supporting our small businesses, and also our personal well-being. So you'll hear some information about visitor spending and the ROI of the Pure Michigan advertising campaign, and also how travel isn't just tourism. Travel is getting out in your own backyard and being a tourist in your own town and supporting your own small businesses. The pandemic has been hard. It's been particularly hard for so many industries, and particularly the travel and tourism industry got hit pretty hard. So, as an industry, as a human being, society, we need to do our part to support our local communities.
Chad, I know you're here to promote the entire travel industry in Michigan today, but back at home in Ann Arbor, you really are one of those communities that's close to a lot of population that can drive 45 minutes or an hour and come to Ann Arbor. How were things last year as we came out of the pandemic with things like the classic Ann Arbor Art Fair and other events in Ann Arbor?
Yeah, the last 2 years has been hard. We lost about half of our hospitality workforce. A lot of restaurants closed. We had some hotels closed, but the future is looking brighter. So this year, the Ann Arbor Art Fair is returning once again. It's in July. We have 8 home football games, which is a big deal because typically we have 6 or 7. And we also have some big union training groups. These are big conventions that have been coming to Ann Arbor for decades now for their annual training group. So it's group business. That's also a big economic driver to our local communities, because they shop and they go to restaurants while they're here. And so this summer we are poised for continuing a recovery in the Ann Arbor area.
It's great. I mean, we've got the art fair coming back, we've got the auto show coming back, which impacts the entire state and certainly your community and all of southeastern Michigan. And then we've got our gems, Mackinac Island and the coastlines up north and Pictured Rocks and a lot of those destinations, they started to turn some numbers last year.
Yeah, they did. Yep. So I think part of what's happening is vaccines have gotten rolled out, and I think consumer confidence is increasing and improving. And I think people are starting to realize the important role that travel is in making memories for people. And when you think about all these restaurants that closed, people go to these restaurants for good food and good chefs, but also because you're there for an anniversary or a birthday. So it's making memories, and that's what travel does for us.
All right, I better send it back to Tyler before he cuts us off. Chad, thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you for your fine work, and you're going to be on the stage here when we come back live, right?
I'll be there. Thank you.
All right, we will look forward to spending more time with you today. So Tyler, that's kind of what's going on here. Another big day for travel. We were up at the governor's conference, and now we're here in. If I didn't mention it, we're in this huge arena in Frankenmuth. So it's good to be here, and I bet before we get out of town, we'll probably get a little chicken before we come home.
Probably, yeah. And the networking event there is happening this afternoon, but the entire week full of events in Frankenmuth to celebrate National Travel and Tourism Tourism Week, May 1st through 7th. We have Dave Scott on site in Frankenmuth for the event in partnership with the Tourism Industry Coalition of Michigan. Dave, thanks.
Thanks, Tyler. Back to you.
We're going to take a break here on the Michigan Megacast. On the other side, we'll talk about art with Amanda Harrison from the Detroit Institute of Arts, which will be sending recreations of iconic pieces from throughout art history to various locations across Michigan coming up next. This is the Michigan Megacast.
We may come from different organizations,
but we work together to protect the Huron River for everyone.
Neighborhood storm drains carry water directly to local creeks and streams. No filters, no treatment.
Storm drains also help reduce street flooding when it rains.
So clearing storm drains and the areas nearby of trash and leaves helps keep them for rain only.
It is easy to do your part by adopting a storm drain.
Find a storm drain, check it, and clear it every month.
So keep storm drains for rain only.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
If you are struggling to afford your internet bills during the pandemic, there's a temporary government program that may be able to help. It's called the Emergency Broadband Benefit, and it provides up to a $50 monthly discount on your broadband bill to qualifying households. Find more information about the program, including if you qualify and how to enroll, at fcc.gov/broadbandbenefit, or call toll-free at 833-511-0311.
A public service announcement from 89.3 Lakes FM.
We as Michiganders feel connected to this resource in a way that I think is really powerful.
Conservation starts with a caring, committed community.
For me, it's peaceful to have a relationship with the river.
Every single one of us has a role to make sure that those waterways stay safe and healthy, being careful about what goes down the storm drain.
Just even eliminating some of your single-use plastic makes a difference.
There's one water, and it's ours to protect.
Did you know that nearly 3.31 million Americans don't get their annual checkup? Going to the doctor regularly is extremely important and is a crucial factor in maintaining good health. Make sure you are visiting your local doctor often and telling them about any health concerns you have. For more information, contact your local healthcare provider. This message is brought to you by WBHS Digital Media Arts Program and 89.3 Lakes FM.
People are getting out to walk and bike in higher numbers. More vulnerable road users and higher speed traffic can be a dangerous combination. Crash severity has increased, so if you're driving, be sure to slow down and look for people. There's no need to speed. If you're biking, ride with traffic. If you're walking, avoid stepping into the road if possible. If you have to walk in the street, walk facing traffic. Learn more at walkbikedrivesafe.org.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light.
How can I help you?
Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need. For help with food, healthcare, mental health, and other resources. Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected, get help.
Parents do a lot of worrying. Get your kids caught up on childhood vaccines to protect them from these 14 preventable diseases, and you'll have 14 fewer things to worry about. Vaccines are safe and effective and save lives. So let's get caught up on vaccines and worry about something else. Get the facts at ivaccinate.org.
Welcome back to the Michigan Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. To learn more about the program by visiting our website at civiccentertv.com, clicking on our Megacast link, or just typing in civiccentertv.com/Megacast. We'll learn about our entire network of stations and find us on demand in places such as My Michigan TV. Joining us now from the Detroit Institute of Arts is Amanda Harrison. Amanda is their Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County and joins us once again on the Michigan Megacast. Amanda, thank you for being with us.
Hi, Tyler. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate having you on. So it's been a while since we last talked. Can you talk about some of the efforts that the DIA has been making of late, particularly as the effects of the pandemic on institutes such as the DIA has sort of waned and more people are now able to get out to these physical places to enjoy art and other services provided by the DIA?
Tyler, we're so excited to be safely resuming back to our more normal operations. The museum is back to our regular operating hours. We're open late on Friday evenings again. We've lifted our mask requirements for visiting our galleries and have begun in-person programming again on a more scaled back basis to make sure that we stay safe. But are excited to see live concerts return. Our Detroit Film Theater has reopened, and our community outreach partnerships are continuing. In fact, we have one coming to West Bloomfield that I'm really excited about.
Yeah, I had heard about this a few months ago through the grapevine that this was going to be coming to West Bloomfield and other locations in Oakland County. It's part of the DIA's Inside Out program, and it'll be starting on May 9th. It's a really special program in Oakland County that will be providing a look at some great art pieces from history. Can you tell us about the Inside Out program and what special element of it is coming to West Bloomfield and other areas in Oakland County?
This has been a wonderful partnership. I've worked very closely with Jennifer Tucker of your Parks and Recreation Department, and our installations are going to begin May 9th, and then they'll finish up before Memorial Day weekend. So we have a list of 9 different communities in Oakland County, West Bloomfield being one of them. And what we do is we take reproductions of permanent pieces in the DIA's collection, and we install them in the community. So West Bloomfield is going to, I believe, get 6 different pieces of our artwork installed throughout your Civic Center and different areas, some parks and recreation areas.
We're joined by Amanda Harrison from the Detroit Institute of Arts. She's their Community Relations Manager for Oakland County, joining us on the Megacast. And so again, you're the Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County with the DIA. The DIA is located in Detroit, that's in Wayne County. And not a lot of people realize that the service of the Detroit Institute of Arts is provided to those in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. Can you talk about that partnership between these counties to give this access to the arts all throughout the Tri-County area?
We're so lucky to have the partnership that we do between Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb counties. I'd like to just explain that the DIA is a 501c3. We own our artwork within the collection, our building, and the land that the building is on outright, and over 67,000 pieces of artwork within that collection. We're ranked among the top 5 museums in North America. And we're really proud of our funding model. It's different from a lot of others where we have a relationship between the 3 counties. We're funded through a 0.2 millage that was awarded to us more than 10 years ago. It was just renewed for another 10 years in March of 2019. And part of that agreement ensures that general admission to our museum is always free for residents. We offer school field trips that includes bus transportation for K through 12 community schools in Oakland County, Wayne, and Macomb as well. And we also do community outreach efforts and senior programming. So right now I host a program every Thursday at 1 o'clock called Thursdays at the Museum. It's gone virtual since the start of the pandemic. And I believe that we'll keep a virtual element of that even as we bring our seniors back to the museum. And then the community outreach component of it, which is Inside Out, that's bringing those reproductions of DIA artwork into the community. And we're able to do that because of this millage support that we have.
We're joined by Amanda Harrison. She is the Community Relations Manager for Oakland County with the Detroit Institute of Arts, otherwise known as the DIA, joining us on the Megacast. More information on the DIA can be found on their website, dia.org. That's dia.org for more information on current exhibitions at the DIA and programs out in the community, both in Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County, as well as admission information and information for field trips and more. dia.org. shatters.org. And so you mentioned virtual programming, particularly for the seniors. Virtual programming has been the entire basis of the programming for the bulk of the pandemic for the Detroit Institute of Arts and many other organizations as well, as people are emerging back into society more normally with the cases of COVID-19 in a down spiral now in terms of the numbers over the last several weeks and last couple of months. What is the future of the virtual programming element of the DIA? Because it's been something that's allowed the community, the communities that are served by the DIA and neighboring communities as well that are interested in the DIA's services to tap into those services during a crisis, but with the way technology impacts our lives now and some people's desire to engage in these programs beyond just the times that they are live, what is that future looking like for virtual programming through the Detroit Institute of Arts?
Tyler, that's such an excellent question, and I'm glad you asked that, because virtual at the DIA, we're really all about access. We want to give as much access as we can to our residents and supporters, and we believe that virtual is going to be an element of that. We are in the process actually of creating a brand new digital department to oversee our digital offerings, and it is something we expect to continue to serve as a complement to our in-person programming. So it's not meant to replace anything, but only to be an aid. Part of the reason for that is our commitment to our senior audience and people, and we're thinking about seniors who might be homebound or might not be physically capable of coming to the museum. We want to make sure that they have access to our collection and programming just as much as anyone else would.
We're joined by Amanda. Please.
Yes. We're just continuing to grow that program and are excited to see it evolve into the next steps.
We're joined by Amanda Harrison, the Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County with the Detroit Institute of Arts, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. It's a great time of year to go visit the DIA, either in person at their site in Detroit or through one of their many different virtual programs and exhibitions. And one of the many exhibitions going on currently at the DIA or coming up at the DIA is their celebration and their recognition of Asian Pacific American Heritage Month, which is the month of May in 2022. Can you tell us about some of the exhibitions that will be taking place at the DIA in recognition of that month?
Yes, we have a lot of exciting programming going on around this Heritage Month. It is really become a staple within the DIA to recognize and celebrate different cultural and heritage months. So we have a different program live every Thursday at 1 p.m. celebrating different artists from the Asian American community, and also looking through our Asian galleries and highlighting some of the Asian American artists who are featured within them. And then we have live in-person programming with different artists and groups as well. I believe we have a puppet program coming and a lot of other films being made available to us that we're really excited about. And our exhibitions are really a main driver of people down to the museum. So I'm glad that you brought them up, because as we're looking at Asian American Heritage Month, we also had an exhibition dedicated toward women for our Women's History Month, and it's actually still up and running. It's up through May 30th. It's called By Her Hand, Artemisia Gentileschi and Women Artists in Italy. It's looking at women artists from the 1500s to 1800s who lived in Italy, including Artemisia Gentileschi, who's a staple within our collection, and 16 other women who had to navigate a really difficult male-dominated world and overcame a lot of obstacles in order to succeed and become successful artists. A lot of them were breadwinners in their homes. Others worked in convents, and others just painted in the privacy of their own homes. And it's amazing to learn about their stories. And I want to encourage your listeners to come down to the museum to check it out while it's still up and running.
We're joined by Amanda Harrison, the Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County with the Detroit Institute of Arts on the Michigan Megacast. Another exhibit that will be coming, that's ongoing through May 15th, is in partnership with the Consulate of Mexico. It is a recognition of El Dia de Muertos 2022. It's a celebration of that. Can you tell us about that exhibit that's in partnership with basically the Mexican Embassy?
This is such an important program to us. It reestablishes our commitment to celebrating the diversity within our city and our communities. And we're actually, this is a Frendas exhibition. So these are altars recognizing people or places or groups of people who were important to the individual creator. And anyone within the community can submit their designs and ideas for this Ofrendas exhibition. And that call for participation is open, as you mentioned, till May 15th. And you can submit your proposal at dia.org/ofrendascall2022.
We're joined by Amanda Harrison. She is the Community Engagement Manager for Oakland County with the Detroit Institute of Arts, joining us on the Michigan Megacast. Amanda, just another couple minutes with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else at this time that we should be keeping in mind in terms of programs or special events coming up at the Detroit Institute of Arts?
I would love to add that you don't have to come down to the museum in order to celebrate and enjoy what we're offering. Because of this Inside Out program coming to West Bloomfield, we're going to have 6 different pieces from the DIA's collection on display from May through November throughout West Bloomfield. I was actually just at the West Bloomfield Optimist Club last month to talk about the partnership. And we're also formulating additional programming around this installation of artwork. Just to give you an example, West Bloomfield Public Library is going to host a lecture focused on the piece that's actually will be on display there. It's a Russ Marshall photograph. And the library organized a talk on that specific piece, as well as other photography pieces within the DIA's collection. And that's going to be July 7th. So please look to the library for more information on that and come out to see the installation.
Amanda, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Tyler. It's a pleasure.
Appreciate it. Again, the Inside Out program will be coming to West Bloomfield, Farmington Hills, and 26 other communities in the Tri-County area, May 9th through November 30th. More information on that and other exhibitions and programs through the Detroit Institute of Arts on their website, dia.org. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. I want to thank everybody that did join us on today's edition of the program. Of course, Joanne Ewald from Mend on the Move was with us. We also were joined by many different individuals, including Dave Dulio from Oakland University, who talked to us about Michigan politics. Jason Charnas from JVS and Kadima, and Mike Kent from Traverse City Tourism, as well as Amanda Harrison from the Detroit Institute of Arts. If you missed any of our program today, in our entire edition, or just certain interviews, and you'd like to catch up, you can always do so on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. Sometime mid to late afternoon, we usually have the full episode and each individual interview posted, so you can view it on demand. Also on our Megacast page at civiccentertv.com/megacast, you can learn more information on our variety of partnering TV, radio, and web outlets that join us every day, live and live to tape, as well as for replays throughout the afternoons and evening by going to our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where we have links to each and every one of these stations, so you can find out more about their other original programming in your local area, all throughout the state of Michigan, including outlets such as My Michigan TV or MyMy that you can access for free at mymytv.com, as well as on your smartphone and your smart TVs with the My Michigan TV app. We also highly encourage you to head over to our coronavirus page at civiccentertv.com/coronavirus, where we have links to the Centers for Disease Control, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and the Oakland County Health Division's COVID-19 specific web pages to keep you up to date on everything you need to know about COVID-19 as this pandemic continues. Yes, not as severe of an impact as it has been in the past several months and in the past 2 years by and large, but we're still in the middle of a pandemic at this moment in time, and you're going to want to keep up to date on information. As things continue to change, things go up and down in terms of case numbers, in case of severity of certain variants of COVID-19. Everything you need to know about it, including where you can get vaccinated and get your booster shots should you need to do so, is on our website, civiccentertv.com/coronavirus. Also want to give a big thank you to our crew that makes this program possible each and every day. Our technical director, Calvin Brown, who's with me in our studio for the full 2-hour marathon that is both the Oakland County and Michigan Megacasts Monday through Friday for our live programming, and helps us with all of our live-to-tape programming, as well as that on-demand footage that you can find at civiccentertv.com/megacast. Our Zoom producer, Jared Clark, who's with us at the office of My Michigan TV, located in Troy, Michigan. The king of television, TV royalty himself, Larry Nyland, who is our producer, booking all of our guests, helping them get ready and helping us get ready each and every day for informative conversations on a number of different topics to help you, the viewer, keep informed on things that are important to Michiganders, for Michiganders, on the Megacast. And he's also out of master control today, helping us both on and off the air for our program. On My Michigan TV, coming up next, it's Steve Lato Live, followed by Larry and Maddie Live. We will return Tuesday at 10 a.m.